Alright, I haven't made a video in over a month. Holidays came up, vacation time. Just haven't gotten around to it. I wanted to talk today about the type of gardening that I do, which is a no-dig method, and you've probably heard me talk about it on a number of occasions in the other videos. And I wanted to just briefly go over why I do it and what I wanted to talk about 5 benefits of this method. So the main reason I do it is because I think this type of gardening goes hand in hand, is a very natural way of gardening, and it goes hand in hand with sustainability and reduction of waste and improvement of the land. So that's a big thing. I chose a few years ago to stop using any kind of chemical fertilizers or pesticides or anything like that, and basically went full organic. And I think this type of gardening is basically incompatible with the use of chemical fertilizers, or it should not be used with those. So what's no dig? No dig is just what it sounds like. It's a method of gardening where you do not dig, you do not rototill, you don't disturb the soil. And the point of this, now I'll get right into the benefits. The main benefit of it is the reasoning behind it has to do with when you don't disturb the soil, you basically help the development of the soil structure and the soil food web. And what this means is, by not disturbing the soil, you don't kill all the beneficial organisms, the beneficial bacteria, fungi, earthworms, nematodes, all the stuff that makes soil healthy and helps plants stay nourished and helps them thrive and helps reduce the presence of disease and pests. So if you don't already know how nutrients are made available to plants, they're basically made available through the decomposition process. What happens is earthworms and ultimately bacteria decompose all these organic matters, and once they're fully decomposed at the molecular level, then they become available to the plant roots. But for example, to go from a leaf that falls off of a tree to the actual nutrients of those leaves, of that leaf becoming available for the plant, that leaf has to be completely digested first by the decomposition process, which is, bacteria, fungi, worms, whatever that is. So by promoting that health, you promote the life that allows for the nutrition of the plants. So anytime that you are adding organic matter, think of it as you're nourishing the soil, you're not nourishing the plant. So you're feeding that soil food web, which in turn will feed the plants and keep the plants healthy. Another benefit, big benefit for me, it's a lot less work. Just think of it, no dig. I don't have to dig. So by not having to dig anything, you don't have to rototill, you don't have to try to mix that compost into the soil. All you do is you layer organic matter on top. You can think of it as a heavy mulching type of gardening, but basically all you do to add fertility is you keep adding things to the top layer of the soil. Based on that soil food web, what that will do, it will digest the organic matter. The earthworms will come up near where the organic matter is, they will eat it, they'll bury back down, and they'll bring all that organic matter down in the form of castings. So they're essentially doing the rototilling for you. The hardest part of the method is basically moving the material that you need to add. So let's say you have bags of compost that you purchased, or manure, or whatever it may be, and you're going to add them to the top layer. The hardest part is having to carry these and spread them with a rake all over the bed. So it should not be a lot of effort. Another added benefit, this is the third benefit, is you get a lot less weeds. So because your technique, your strategy is to mulch, you're adding material to the top, you're covering that ground, you're basically suppressing weeds constantly. And so you get way less weeds, if none at all, and unless you had a lot of weeds in your compost, but you get a lot less weeds, and there's a lot less to do in the garden except for tending to the plants and picking your vegetables. So it just makes it so much more enjoyable because of that. Instead of doing the things that cause the extra work, you're eliminating those things with this method. You're reducing the ugly parts of gardening as much as possible. Now another huge benefit is the reduction of compaction and the increase of tilth of the soil. So I used to spend a lot of time trying to figure out how do I keep my soil very friable and permeable and soft, and so that roots can freely grow through it. Whenever you rototill, you're compacting your soil. This is counterintuitive. I'm going to repeat it. Every time you rototill, you promote compaction of the soil. You get an initial increase in friability of the soil, becomes kind of fluffy, but as soon as you water, as soon as it rains one time, as soon as you step on it, that soil is going to compact way more than before and reduce the ability for water to get through, for roots to grow, and all that stuff. So you get in a cycle where you have to constantly work the soil to make it more usable and more friable. By not touching it ever and only adding organic matter, the soil ecology is doing all that for you. The rototilling is being done for you. Every time an earthworm goes up and down and creates a bunch of channels, those are permanent channels that will allow water to go down deep to the roots. The channels will also allow roots to grow through them. Anytime you pull a plant out, you leave the roots in the soil. Those roots decompose and they leave channels throughout the soil that get taken up by other roots, allow more soil ecology to flourish. The fungi that are in the soil, they spread and they start colonizing everywhere and create a network. This promotes that tilth and that ability of the soil to stay friable. And then the last benefit that these all go hand in hand with each other, of course, is the water permeability. Anytime you water, the water will permeate through the soil quickly. It won't run off. Runoff is the enemy of soil. Whenever you have runoff, like when it rains really hard and the soil is not covered, whenever you have runoff, you'll just have water bringing away all the nutrients and washing them away. By having a soil that is friable and absorbs water readily, the water goes down deep and it permeates the soil and it doesn't wash nutrients away. So it retains water better, it absorbs water better, so it prevents flooding and it prevents erosion, and it also it absorbs it better and it holds it better. So because you have all this organic matter, it gets soaked with water. Even during the summer, you don't have to water as much because there's so much organic matter that has water and is holding on to it that you can water a lot less frequency, a lot less frequently, and use way less water than you would normally. How does nature create an ecology, a permanent ecology that continues to thrive over millennia, millions of years? So what happens in nature? Is there any rototilling, any digging of the soil that happens in nature? How does nature do it? What happens? In the fall, nature fertilizes. Everything falls. Leaves fall. They all mat down onto the ground, and this helps protect and cover the ground, and it promotes soil life in the ground. Promotes retention of water. Water is life. Without water, you don't have any life, right? So if you don't have water and a moist environment, you're not going to get a thriving soil ecology. So that organic matter accumulates over centuries, and it protects and it promotes a soil ecology, a balanced soil ecology, most of all, because that balance is what allows predators and pests to coexist in a balance that allows for all the organisms to thrive together. So when you consistently fertilize or apply pesticides and all that stuff, what you're doing is you're altering that balance, and you are killing a lot of the good bacteria, good microbes, good insects, as well as the bad ones. And what that ends up doing is it ends up creating an imbalance. And so as soon as you stop, or as soon as another insect arrives or something, another pest arrives that's not sensitive to whatever you're using, then you get an explosion of problems to your crops. So the best thing to do is to promote an environment of balance, and you end up having to not use pesticides, and it allows for all the insects and all the life to thrive and keep each other in check, just like in nature. That is in essence why I do this. I like Plus, just the fact that I know that any food that I'm growing, that I'm feeding, for example, most of the food, like some of the winter squashes that I've grown and some of the minor fruit and things that are growing right now in the garden, I've been feeding them all to our baby, our newest baby, our third. And it's just, I can't tell you how satisfying it is to know that he is eating the cleanest food that I could possibly feed him, because I know that this food has been grown completely naturally without anything, nothing added, no kind of pesticides, nothing whatsoever. Like, I can be sure of that. Even in organic gardening, when you buy organic food, sometimes you can't be sure because there are some things that are not classified, that are classified as organic, that are still chemically produced. So it's just very satisfying to know that. So anyway, I'll continue to talk about these topics, in my videos covering different things. But feel free to comment. I'd love to know what you think about it. I'd love to, if you have suggestions, things you want to listen to, or things you'd like me to talk about, or things you'd like me to show, or any questions you may have, feel free to comment. I'll be doing more videos. It's end of December now, so it's almost time to start planting the spring garden. So I'll be planting some seeds in the next couple of weeks. So stay tuned for that. I'll do a video. But yeah, if you want to plant a spring garden and you're in a warm zone like I am, 9B, now's the time to start thinking about your tomatoes, peppers, all those plants, believe it or not, because those can go, for me, they can go as early as late February. So we're getting there, a couple of months in a pot, and then they can go out. So yeah, hope you enjoyed the video. Leave a comment. Thank you.